Hi guys, Bharat here from Ananya Software Technology. Today we will be discussing a very important topic which is array, and we'll see where we can use this array. And we use this array most of the time when we are dealing with a drop down list, or I would say when we are dealing with a Excel sheet from where we get the data and we use that data in our script. So let me share my screen and then we'll look into that. Right. So here you can see my screen, and here we have given the definition. The definition is what is array? So Java array is an object which contain elements of a similar data type. So what does it mean? What does it mean by a similar data type? So similar data type is just like when you are creating a array for integer data type, all the array will have an integer only, integer type. If you are having your array for string, so in all the index you will be having string only. So that's why we always say that whenever we have or whenever we declare array, it will have a similar data type. Another thing, so array in Java is index based, and the first element on array is stored at a zeroth index. So when I say zeroth index is just, so let's say this is my index. So whenever I'll declare one array, it will start, the first index will start from a 0 and then it will go. So let's say if I created index length for 5, right? So it will start from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. So this is how it will work. And second element is stored on a first index. So the second one will store at first place. All right. So there are two types of array we have. One is a single dimensional and another one is a multi-dimensional array. All right. So we'll look into this one by one, and we'll see how we can declare the array, and how we can initialize the array, and how we can store the value in array. All right. So let's go to Eclipse. So here, what I'm gonna do, I'll be creating one class here. So the class will be, let's say, if I say class, so I can say array. Correct. Only you can give any name here. So this is my class, and let's say I want to, let me have my main method here. Okay, because see, JVM start running from a main method actually. Even if you write anything here about this main method, it will not execute. So JVM start running from main method. So if I talk about array, so how we can declare it actually. So to declare this, what we have to do, or let me create array here. So I would say when I want my array type is integer, so I would say integer, bracket, then I will give any name you can give here, array. Let's say I'm giving array here, and I'll be creating an object, because see, in starting I said Java array is an object which contain of a similar data type. All right. I will say new, and then I will say int, and I can give a length here. Let's say I want only just 5, and then I have given the length here. It's giving some warning or something, which is because I didn't use this variable, I didn't use this array anywhere. So as soon as I will print it, let's try to print it actually. So if I say, if I want to print this one, how I can print it, I can say array. That's it. All right. So what do you think actually what it will print? Right now there's nothing in this array. Okay, so when I created this array with the length of 5, I mean we have a length which is 5 here, right? So if you see here, All right. If you come here and if you this is the one which you have. So the array length which I'm having is a 1, 2, 3, and this is the 4. All right. So here we have a 0, and then we have the 0. This is 1. This is 2, 3, and 4. So as I said, your array start from 0 index, but it will hold 5 value in that. Okay. So but as I said, this is my integer, so it will only hold the integer. So it could be let's say 20 or any value you can give here. So for example, I'm just telling you 60, 80, and 100. So it will hold 5 value here in this. And whenever I'll be calling, whenever I want to retrieve a value of index 0, it will print 20. If I want to print the position or the index 1 value, it will print 40, and like that. So right now in this program, actually, I didn't store any value as of now. I just created one array here. The length is 5 here, and I'm just printing it. Let's print it. So here you can see here, as soon as I print this array, it will give you some garbage value or something which is not even, you cannot understand it actually. So here this thing is a address where my array will be there actually. So this is the address actually. So as I didn't store any value, and that's why it's printing an address. All right. So let's say this is the address. So if I say this will be the address for me. So on this address, it will be, a value will be stored. All right. So this is the address. All right. So now what we can do actually, store the value. So there are different way we have here. Let's say start to give or initialize the array here. So what we can do here, we can say array, and let's say if we know that like we have a 5 position, right? 5 index we have. So we will say index 0, want to print 20, want to store 20, right? Let me do it. Then we have array. Let me do one thing. Let me just copy and paste it actually. It will help. It will reduce our work. All right. So if I say this is my index 1, if I say this is my index 2, 3, and this is my index 4. All right. So so here I assign a 20 to index 0, 40 to index 1. This is 60 to index 2. All right. Then I'll be having 80 to index 3, and then we'll be having 100 to index 4. Right. Now this is the value we have given here, and let's say I want to print all the value, or let's say if I want to print only one actually. So let's say if I say system.out.println, and I want to only just print the index 0 value. So I can say directly copy, and I can paste it here, and let's run this now. So it will give you 20. If you change here index value, so if you say on second position, second index, what will be the value? So you can directly run it, and it will print a 60. All right. Also, you can also do one thing here. Let's say I'm not having anything for let's say I want to just store 0th index and the 2nd index and the 4th index. Let's try to print the second one now, or I would say let's try to print the 1 index. What, let's say I just want to check, what is the value on the index one. Let's run it now. So it's printing 0 because see, there's no value there, which is, I can say, null value. It's returning me a null value. All right. So if the value is there, it will print. If it is not, then it will return a 0 for that position. All right. So let me undo. All right. Let me do one thing here. All right. So now if I want to my requirement, I just want to print everything actually, whatever I have stored in an array. So I can use my for loop. I would say int index start from 0. All right. And then if I say index less than array, and just see, I'm not sure about the length here. If you know that what is the length, you can view as a 4 here. All right. And let's say index plus, and it's working fine. And I would say okay. Why 4? Because it's starting from 0, and from 0 to 4 it will be 5. The length will be 5. If you say here less than equal to, if you say like this, it will give you error. All right. So it's greater than and equal to a 4 actually. So here I would say it's giving error because see, we have only just the index till 4th. Okay. So what you can do here is, you instead of this, actually it's good to use a final variable. So let's say if I say array dot length here is a final variable. So final variable, I would say constant variable. The value will not change. All right. So I can use this one. And now let's say I want to print. So I would say system.out.println, and then I would say array. All right, will be here, and I would say array, and in bracket I can say index. That's it. So the index value will increase one by one, and it will print all the values. See, here we can see all the values here. So this is how we can create array, initialize the array, and print the array. If you want individual, you can print individual. If you want to print using for loop, you can print using a for loop. All right. So this is how we can work on a array. Another thing here is there's one more for loop which we have, which is for each elements it will run. But the problem with that will be will not able to sort in descending and ascending order. Here we have a facility, we can give this length in the index equal to, and we can go till 0. So we have facility here, we can sort our array. But let's try that. We'll look into that here. So when I want to use that array, so let's say if I say 4, and in that 4 I would say integer. That's holding an integer, right? So I would say integer. I will create one variable here. So a colon array. All right. And if I do like this, then what I can say, I would say system.out.println,
And what are we gonna print? I will be printing, because see, I'm storing all array value and it will run for each index. So I will say A. Let's run this now. It's printing. So my array, all array will be stored in A and it will print one by one. So this is how it works. All right. So when I talk about that, the length, what is length actually? So length is a final. Okay. The final variable, right? Which I use to just see the length of that array. All right. So what is final keyword? So if I say final keyword, whenever I use a final keyword, let's say if I'm using this final keyword variable, then it will become a constant. When I use this final keyword with method, it will become you will not able to cannot override it. Actually, if your method have this final keyword, then you cannot override it. And also, if you have class with this final keyword, then you will not able to inherit. Actually, cannot inherit. Okay, you will not able to inherit. All right. So now let's do one thing. This is what we saw actually, that how we can print. Now let's talk about or let's do one thing here. So let's what we can do here. We are giving all the values for each index. So instead of giving this, we can store it random number. So for that, we'll be using one method from class math class. Okay, so we'll be using math class here, and from that we'll be using a random, which is a method inside it, and we'll be having a random number, and we'll be storing that random number to each index, and we'll be printing that. So let's do that. So instead of this one, what we can do, I'll be removing all this. All right, so here let me remove one more here. All right, so we are good now. So here what we can do, we can say we have created our array. The length is 5 we have here, and now we can say array array, and we can, all right, so let me create one for loop here. So I would say integer index, and then I would say index less than array dot length, and I would say index plus. That's it. This is what we have to do, and it's done. Now what we have to do here is, right, it's giving me error. All right, so now this is what it is. So we have index will start from 0, and it will go till the length of that array, and index plus plus. So what we can do here, we can say array, in that we'll be giving as an index, and here we'll be using a method which is a math dot random, and in that random, let's say we want to print for a 3-digit, so we multiply by 1000 and will be close include. close the bracket here. All right, so this is also closed. Now what is saying? It's saying there's an issue because see, the value which will be coming from this will be a double, and here the index is an integer. So we have to typecast it actually. So to typecast, we have to change this double into an integer. So how we can do it? We can say enter, right? We'll use the same column here, and this is done. So every time it will multiply with 1000 and will be generating a random number, and that number will be stored into our array, and we will be printing that actually. So let's try that. Let's try to print as well. So what we can do, we will be just printing this one, and we'll see like what value is printing there. All right, let's run this. See, this is what it's running. Now let's try to run again. This time we have different value. So every time we'll get the random number using a random method, and this method we have inside a math class. All right, so this is how we work. Apart from this, we also work on a two-dimensional array. So when we talk about the two-dimensional array, what it is actually. So this is the array which we just saw. It's like this one. So this is the my single dimensional array. But when we talk about when we are dealing with the Excel sheet, let's say this is my Excel sheet, and in this we'll be having row and column and all that. So this is a two-dimensional array for me. All right, and so for that, and we have to deal with this, and we have to get the data. So let's say if I have a username, password, or some different fields we have here. So to get the data, we have to deal with the two-dimensional array. All right, so how it will store? So in this case, if you see, you will be storing your value like this. So if I come here, let me come to here, and here I would say, let's say array is the array with 0 position, and I would say 0 row, 0 column, and there will be some value. If I say array, then you will be having a 0 row and first column, then we'll be having. So here, even if you see here, the first cell will be a 0 0. So column 0 and row 0. If you come here, the row will be still 0, then column will be 1. If you come to the third one, the row will be again 0 and column will be the second, because it is starting from a 0. So 0 1 2, like that, like this it will go. All right, so let's do one thing. Let's try to create one program for the same, and let's see how it will work. So let me go to my class, and I will say class, and let's say two dimensional. All right, let's do only 2D. Right, so here what we can say, it will be under a main method. Right, so last time we use only one bracket, so I would say here int, and here, as we are talking about two dimensional, we'll be using two bracket here, and we can give any name. Let's say if I give or any name you can give here, and then we have to create an object, because array is an object. I would say int, and let's say I want to deal with a 3 row and 3 column. All right, so it will be 3 row and 3 column. Done. All right, so okay, all right, so this is done, and let's see what is the issue here. All right, so okay, there's one more here. Let's see what is the issue. Change. Okay, got it. All right. So here we have row and column. Here we have for row and column actually. So this is how we write the syntax for a two-dimensional array. All right. So what we can do here to store the data again, then if I want to just store the data like this, I can say 0 and I would say 1 0 0. There will be some value here. If I say, and let me change it actually. So I will just copy and paste this here. So it will be 0 1 0 0, then it will be 0 1, then it will be 2. Okay. So 0 first column, second column, third column. Now it will change to 1, and then first column, then it will be second column, and then it will be again a third column. And if you again see here, it will be the third row in the first column, third with row with a second column, and then there will be one more, which will be a third row with a, it will be the second column, and it will be the third column. So this is how it will print. So let me just write this, and all right, and I can give the value here. So it's say 10. If I want to give 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, or 90. So it will run, it can have a 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 value. It will hold 9 value actually. So I'll be just using my, all right, this is what it is done. Now let's say I want to print same, what I can do. So in this case, I can I need to use a two loop, nested loop here to print both the value. Or if I just want to print the first one value, I can say directly system.out.println, and I'll be giving this one. And let's say if I run this, and let's see what we will get. Okay, so we are getting some exception here. What is that? The exception saying that index 3 out of bound of length 3 actually. So why we are getting this? Because let's see, will be a 2. Now let's try again, and it's printing 10. Okay, because here we have defined 3 column 3 row actually, row 3 column 3, and here we were giving the row 4th at the column 4th actually. Okay, and that's why we are facing issue. Now I just want to print everything in a one shot, so I'll be using a for loop. I would say I would say let's have a data type here, so I would say integer I equal to 0, and here I will say, I know this is we are having a 3 row, so I'll be giving a less than 3 here because it is starting from 0, and I would say I plus, and then in that I'll be creating one more for loop. So the first one will be for row, so this is for my row, and the second one I'll be creating again, which is a for loop. I would say integer j equal to 0 and j less than 3, and I would say j plus plus, and this is what we will be doing here. And then let's do this one. All right, so this is for row, the second one is for column. All right, so now how we can print all the value. To print all the value, we will say system.out.println, and in this we can say arr, which is my array name. Okay, and I'll be passing my I, and then I'll be passing a j. All right, then let's say how to print, because see, if you see here, every time when the I will start, okay, so this will start, okay, row, it will go, the value initially we have a 0, so 0 will be coming here, and then when you will go inside of this loop, okay, it will run for 3 times. Okay, so it will start for 0, 1 and 2. Once it's done, less than 2, once it will be more than, greater than I would say 2, it will go outside and it will again have a 1. So now integer 0, which was I was become 1 here, and then it will start from 1 and it will go for this one. So I, it will 1 1 1 for 3 times it will be, and it will go for 0 1 2 column, and again when it's done, all column is done, it will come for row again, it will be having second, okay, and it will run for all 3 columns, and then it will be done. So if I print now, it will print all the value. All right, so this is what we have actually. So in this single dimensional array, we'll be having like this, we'll be only dealing with rows, but here we'll be dealing with row and column both. And to print this, we'll be using a nested for loop. First one will belong to a row, and second one will belong to a column. And once the first row will start, it will run for all the columns. Then second row will start, it will run for all the columns, and it will start for third row, and then it will run for all 3 columns. All right, so this is how we work we work with a 2D dimensional array. All right, I hope you are now clear with the single dimensional array and as well as 2-dimensional array, as well as we saw that how we can use or how we can store a random number in our array using a math class, and under that math class we have a random method. So using that we can use it and we can store random number in our array. All right.